and Laura, who is her policy analyst, and then we've got Karen and Omega from MR. Julian is helping us with the webinar here at Council, and then we've got Shar and Jackie with Consensus Planning, who are our consultants. So that's a quick internal intro.
Nice to meet you all.
I think folks are joining us from the public soon, or not yet. Yes, I see attendees are coming in, so which is great.
I'm adding Laura to my intro slide very quickly. Okay. All right, got it.
Should we give it another couple more minutes for folks to get in, because it is only 6:01 and sometimes takes a few minutes to get logged on.
Sure.
Jackie, would you like to oh no, sorry, Councillor Feeblecorn, would you like to welcome everybody and give us some opening remarks for this evening?
Sure. Is everybody in and everybody can hear us now, Petra?
Yes.
Okay.
There might be some folks that join a little bit later, but we've got 6 attendees. So.
Great. All right. Well, thank you everybody for attending tonight. I'm Tammy Feeblecorn. I'm District 7 City Councilor, and this area of Menual is in my district. I'm really excited about the potential that I see in the Menual redevelopment study. And I think that you're all going to be pretty happy with the presentation tonight and the information you receive about the potential Menual metropolitan redevelopment area designation. We can do some good things for this part of the district, and I look forward to working with you all as we move forward and make this part of District 7 an attraction again. When I first moved here, it was, and it's changed dramatically, and I think we can do a lot to fix that. So with that, thank you for coming. Thank you for caring enough to give up your Tuesday night, and I'll turn it back to Jackie for the presentation.
All right, thank you, Counselor. I am going to share my screen. So I have a little presentation, fairly brief, and then we'll go into questions and answers. So let's see. Hold on one second. Let's take me one moment here. From the beginning. Okay. Oops. Sorry about that. Share my screen. And there we go. Can everyone see my screen? Okay, perfect. Okay, so thank you all for coming tonight. We have a nice group of people from the city and also some of the participants. I noticed some familiar names from our previous meeting, so welcome. We appreciate you logging on. My name is Jackie Fishman. I'm a principal at Consensus Planning, and we have been working on the Menual redevelopment project for, I don't know, maybe 6-7 months. I can't remember when we started exactly, but we're now going into some of the later phases. The meeting tonight is on the Menual MRA designation, and I'll go through some slides and explain exactly what that's about. Again, with me tonight is Councillor Feeblecorn, who gave the introduction, Petra Morris, who's the City Council Associate Director for Planning and Policy Development. The councilor is policy analyst, Laura Rumler, Karen Iverson from the MRA division, Omega Delgado, also from the MRA division, and then myself again, and Charlene Johnson, who is one of the planners in my office that's been working on this project. So again, some of you are familiar with this. This has been a three-part project, 3 phases. We completed phase 1. That part of the project was a study of a larger area. It's been completed. That area was bounded by Candelaria to the north, I-40 to the south, San Mateo to the east, and I-25 to the west. That study focused on non-residential properties and issues relating to vacant buildings and properties, deteriorated conditions and crime, changing retail trends, and transportation systems. We did a business owner survey. We did 2 public meetings with business owners. We included a SWOT analysis, and we came up with a report that went to the City Council for review and approval. That report also included findings and recommendations. One of the recommendations in the phase 1 report was to create a MR, or Metropolitan Redevelopment Area, a sub area of the larger area that we studied. And that's the phase that we're in today, phase 2. So this meeting is all about the designation of that area. And I'll show you a map in a moment of the area that we've proposed. Phase 3 will come after the designation report is, and the designation itself is approved by council. It will be the creation of an MRA plan. So for those of you who aren't familiar with MR, it is, we have state legislation provided through the New Mexico Redevelopment Code. It provides cities with the power to correct blighted conditions in areas or neighborhoods. It also could be a single building in those areas that substantially inflict or arrest the sound and orderly development within the city. And I feel very strongly that this area of Menual fits the bill. It is based on a finding of blighted conditions. And on my slide, you can see the number of things that the redevelopment code looks at. So deteriorated structures, defective street layout, faulty lot layout. It doesn't have to meet all these items, but it needs to meet some of them to be declared a blighted area. And our phase 1 report did document those conditions. The redevelopment code, again, if you're unfamiliar, it addresses the anti-donation clause of the state constitution, and that prohibits local governments from providing public funds that benefit private interests and vice versa. So the code provides an exception to the anti-donation clause, and they do that through the designation of a MRA, which is what we're working on now, and then an adoption of an MRA plan by the governing body. And that plan allows local government to, again, sell, lease, or dispose of public assets, enter into public and private partnerships, carry out MRA plan projects, invest in MRA project funds, and issue bonds and/or loans. So this is our proposed MRA area. As you can see, it goes from I-25 to the North Diversion Channel along the Menual corridor, and it goes from I-40 to approximately Phoenix. So it takes in most of those properties that are facing Menual. There's a couple that are beyond the first property, but you can see in the diagram the area that we're talking about. So like I said, the redevelopment code requires that we document certain conditions within a proposed MR area. One is deteriorated structures. I'm sure you're all familiar with these structures. We've got, you know, the Range Cafe, which has been closed for quite some time and is slowly but surely deteriorating. Originally, it didn't have boarded up windows. Those windows have been broken. People have gotten into the building. Everything's boarded up. Things are looking bad around that building. We've got the old Village Inn that's been boarded up. In the time that we've been working on this project, it now has a fence around it. It also is deteriorating slowly but surely. Little Anita's right on the corner of University and Menual. That building is, you know, that's the top left building. There's a lot of bad stuff happening around there. I go by that intersection all the time. And you'll see in some of my other pictures, one of the times we went out there to document conditions, there was a city crew from Solid Waste that was painting graffiti on the Little Anita's building. The building in the upper right corner, that is a sort of a old storage building boarded up. It is west of University along the south side of Menual. So lots of examples of deteriorated buildings and structures, vacant, and you know, and those are occurring through a variety of factors, including lack of ongoing investment and disinvestment. We heard a lot of talk in our phase 1 meetings about from hotel owners that are pretty fed up and are thinking about disinvesting in this area unless something changes with crime issues. So there's lots of things going on in the area. Also, we found deteriorated site improvements, and that's not just related to private property. It's also within the public right-of-way. And top right, you can see one of the bus stops right very close to the Menual and University intersection, overflowing with trash. People are, you know, camping out there. It's, you know, some bad stuff happening there. We've got, you know, signs that are missing, weeds, damaged pavement, missing sidewalks, missing street trees, missing parking lot landscape, graffiti, inoperable vehicles. A little bit of everything is happening in the area. I'll show you the next slide. Same thing here. We've got abandoned cars, pavement that's deteriorating both in the public right-of-way and in parking lots. The bottom photo is the area that's west of the Maverick gas station. Abandoned cars, you know, trash enclosures in bad condition. You know, there's just evidence of all this everywhere you look in the area. The top right is again the city solid waste crews painting the graffiti on Little Anita's, which is, I mean, it's great that they responded quickly, but you know, there's just ongoing problems. Also, we found low levels of commercial or industrial activity or redevelopment. So this is just a collection of photos that we took showing all the buildings that are available for lease, for sale, for whatever anybody wants them for. They're available. I haven't seen anything change in months and months. These are all long-term vacant buildings. You know, part of what we did during phase 1, we talked to some commercial brokers in the community from the, well, they used to be My Estes Ward. They're under a new name, and they confirmed that this area is not, you know, the lease rates are low. They're below the average for the Albuquerque retail submarket. The commercial activity along this corridor is heavily influenced by safety issues and challenges with homeless people. And this combined lack of investment in the properties and the aging of these properties and buildings, and then the crime and safety issues have just made the corridor less desirable. This is really mostly talking about the commercial properties. When you get north of Menual into the industrial area, there's a lot of good business happening in there, but the commercial corridor is a lot of disinvestment, a lot of crime and graffiti and just property crime. Although when we talked to business owners, they said, yeah, their fences are getting cut, their buildings are being broken into, there's violence happening on their properties. We heard a horrible story I'm not going to repeat tonight from one of the business owners. Some bad stuff happening. Again, the current business owners we talked to expressed a strong level of frustration with the existing conditions in the area, and basically said if something doesn't change, they may be considering to divestment in the area and just pull out. So we're hoping that we can make a difference between the city and the private owners to improve conditions in this area. One of the things that we did in both the phase 1 report and also in the designation report, we tried to graphically illustrate what the conditions were, and that's what this graphic is. The original graphic was much larger. It included the whole study area, but you can see from here, this is the proposed designated MR area. Again, it shows the area of disinvestment. It shows poor lighting conditions in certain areas, not so much along the Menual corridor is lit up as most of our commercial corridors. We've got buildings needing improvement, nuisance properties, problem bus stops, some new investment happening. Again, we've got the Maverick gas station. I've been saying for quite some time when a gas station is the best thing that happens in an area, that shows something. That was a leap of faith, I think, on that corner. So that's new investment. Also, the Stripes burrito drive-through, client of ours, they're showing some confidence in the area despite what's going on around them. So there is some investment, not a lot. We also showed opportunity sites, and a couple of them are in the MR area. One is the large property at Vassar and Menual. It's vacant, and actually the property, all that purple property in this area here is owned in common, and there's probably more opportunity for redevelopment here than just the vacant area. This area, has a bunch of cars out there. I think this is all ripe for redevelopment. We also show another opportunity site area that it is, it starts with the Quonset hut at the corner of Menual and University and goes west to the first side street. And that's a series of vacant buildings, deteriorated conditions, and what a great opportunity to improve the area would be to try to redevelop this string of buildings and properties. Most of that is owned by the owners of Crown Plaza. I know the general manager is on this call. We'd love to see some redevelopment there. But some of the positive things about this area, we do have good visibility from the freeway. We do have good access, and that was we did the business owner survey revealed that those are some of the things that are seen as the most positive aspects of the areas, is that visibility and access. We also looked at lighting conditions. We don't have any lighting conditions. Well, I guess we have poor lighting conditions along the side road, Menual Road. The new lighting was actually outside of the MR area. So let's see our next thing. So our next steps, we're obviously we want to hear from you all that are on this call. After this meeting, we will be presenting the designation report to the Albuquerque Development Commission on February 17th. All of the information on this project is on the City Council website. So feel free to log in there and get more information. After the ADC meeting on the 17th, we'll be taking the designation report to City Council for adoption. And we're thinking that somewhere in March or April. Once the designation is approved by council, then we will start the phase 3 part of the project, and that will be, again, creating a plan for the area. And we're thinking that will be sometime in May or June. I've got the city's website up on the screen. Feel free to log in at any time. I also have Petra's contact information as well as my own. And with that, I stand ready for questions, as does the rest of the team and staff. So anyone wants to make some comments, just raise your hand and we will. I think they can unmute themselves, Petra, but confirm that for me.
Yes, I believe so. Once we enter the Q&A period, folks can unmute themselves. You can also put questions or comments into the chat if you're having a hard time unmuting yourself. And I see there's a raised hand. No, oh, it's gone down. Okay. You can also raise a hand if you want to ask a question, and we can call upon you so people don't talk over the top of themselves. But we've got a relatively small crowd tonight, so that's a bit of a less of an issue.
All right.
Does it? Oh, I think I saw Joni go up and then Mark.
Menual and University, that the Quonset hut that's on the corner that has been there for quite some time is part of the study, and that is one of the slides, or not one of the slides, but one of the photos.
Yes.
Here, Joni, are you talking about that storage building photo that I showed?
No, the one next to it, going towards the east. Kind of the Quonset hut that's gray.
Right. Oh, okay. Yes. I didn't show a photo of that, but we have documented that building in phase 1 report.
Okay, I thought so. Thank you.
Yes.
And if I remember correctly from the phase 1 report, we have that corner, so the Quonset hut and then some of the parking areas. Basically that's kind of length of that block listed as one of the opportunity sites, because it's so underdeveloped, but such a highly visible location that if there was some redevelopment there, it could make a really big difference to the larger area.
Exactly. So it's, yes, the opportunity site, Petra, that we identified is this whole strip here.
Great. Joni, was that all of your questions or comments for now, or?
I guess my other question was west of, I guess, the Maverick that area there, that is still for lease, is that correct? Because I noticed that all of the tractor trailers have gone.
And I noticed that too. I used to call that the ugliest property in Albuquerque. I think it's for lease or for sale.
Okay,
And I've been very curious why all the tractor trailers have been gone from there.
yes.
It's better, probably better than it was some years ago. And there was a lot of bad activity going on there, but I'd love to see something happen on that property.
Okay, my next question is the exit, the university exit going west. Is that on the study? Because you come down University headed west and on the north side of that exit. I mean, there seems to be a lot of exits that are nice and, you know, brightly lit and very aesthetically pleasing.
Yes, so the phase 1 report, and I can send you a link to that. We documented those areas along I-40 and I-25 that didn't get quite the nice landscape treatment
Right.
that some other areas have. And so it is along the I-40 frontage as you approach University, also the I-25 frontage as you approach Menual. So we did document those areas and
Okay.
it recommended that the city work with NMDOT to improve those.
And over to Mark. You've got a hand up, and I've just spotted a Q&A for you from you as well, which I'll try and type an answer into. Mark, it looks like you're unmuted, but we're not hearing anything from you, or I'm not hearing anything.
Sorry about that.
Okay, we'll try and come back to you. Yes, now we can. Hello.
Sorry.
There you go.
This is the problem with having too much technology for an old man. So I started by saying that I have the pleasure of looking out my office window at Stripes every morning, all day, and wishing I was in the burrito business. The New Mexico Independent Auto Dealers Association bought the building just to the west at 2202 Menual. And we invested for our tiny little organization a significant amount in rehabilitating that building, partly because we believe in the area and we think it's really such a great location in town that it deserves more attention. So I asked if you would send that to me also by email, the report, but also how can business and property owners best participate from here? Is really my only question. And thank you so much for doing this. I do think there's a lot of opportunity.
Petra, do you want to answer?
Yeah. A great way will be to stay involved. We're taking note of everyone's emails from tonight. We'll be sending out the website to everyone to say, you know, long story short, we have a master contact list that we keep up to date with the project, and we'll send the website out to everybody on the email list again to remind them that it's out there. And one great way would be to share that website with anybody that you know would be interested. We keep the website pretty up to date with meetings and opportunities to send in comments. We hope that folks will stay engaged as this designation report makes its way through. The designation report is very important in that it sets the boundaries and is a requirement of the state. However, it's not the most, to my mind, and Karen as the MR manager might feel differently, but not the most interesting part of the MR work, which is to my mind, the plan. And that will be the step that comes in after this. And that's when we're hoping that we do get a lot of engagement, because the plan is really where we start sitting down and looking in depth at the MR area and where the problems are, where the opportunities are, and what are some of the creative ideas and recommendations that we can have for this area beyond just the 2 opportunity sites that we identified in the initial report. You know, where are some areas where we can really look in depth at this for ideas and strategies that can really help to turn this area around. And so when we get going on the plan, and we'll have some public meetings on this, and there'll be opportunities to weigh in via the website, we really hope folks get involved and think about some of those opportunities and suggest opportunities to us if we haven't come up with them yet.
Thank you very much. Present for duty.
Great.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else with any other questions or comments or anything else like that?
Okay, I'm going to ask one more dumb question. Do you think that there's a value add to property owners and business owners to show up, like at the city council meeting where they make these designations, to show support, or is it something that sort of is always supported?
We councillors, well, I don't want to speak for councillors, but I think councillors always like to hear from the public.
Yes.
Can I just jump in and say, I really hope that you will show up and show support for this. You know, there's a lot going on in council, and sometimes things can get lost, and folks just need to hear that this is something that's going to be valuable to, you know, you that are in the area. So please do plan to stay involved in that process too.
And I would just add, when we went to council with the phase 1 report, the councilors were very receptive, asked questions. We did have business owners that weighed in, and I think it really adds to the conversation, the more people that can be participating in this.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. And I see Robert has his hand up, and then Joni. So Robert, fire away. You're still muted.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Hello.
We can hear you.
Hello.
Yes.
So my question is, I know we had talked about, you know, in the last call, possibly maybe a police station. Is there anything like that in the works, or any more policing going on around the area, just as crime seems to be getting a little bit more common in our area?
In terms of the police station, that's definitely something that's a little bit longer term in the works. That'll be a recommendation of the plan. I'm not sure. I know that there was some field briefings for one of the, I've forgotten what the police groups call themselves. We talked about at the last meeting, but I'm not sure if those are still ongoing. Laura or Councillor, are you familiar with that? Area command, there we go. That's what I was struggling to remember the word for.
I'm sorry, I do not know, but we will find out.
Yep.
Okay, I appreciate that. Thank you.
And Robert, I would just add, if, you know, I think you were on the other calls. We put that recommendation in the study. And I'm hoping, you know, for the police substation and to have a little more police presence in the area. I'm hoping that recommendation will continue through to the MR plan.
Okay. Alrighty, I appreciate that.
You're welcome. Looks like Joni has her hand up. Joni, go ahead.
My question is the Santa Barbara pump station on the west side of the Kirky Hotel, right adjacent to the 88 Keys. That's right there on Fairfield Road and Menual Road. That's part of this case study. Is that correct?
Yes, that
Okay.
property is within the boundary.
Okay, because it's looking pretty shoddy. And then also, I noticed that the study stops going north from I-40 to Phoenix. Wasn't it at one point to Candelaria? Did it get shortened or
So
more concentrated?
Joni, what we did, you know, the phase 1 study area was much larger. And the MR recommendation was a smaller sub area within there. So once you get further away from Menual and the more of the commercial retail and restaurant area, and you get into the industrial area, we're not seeing quite as many problems. The buildings are in better condition. They're just not having as much crime issues as the main corridor. And the area is generating a lot of gross receipts and good things. So we decided to recommend that north boundary, but you're correct. The original study did go all the way to Candelaria.
Okay. In this concentrated area, I hope at some point, only because there's so many room nights, this is the most concentrated area in the city or in the state that has this many guest rooms. And I'm sure Robert can attest to this. I mean, most people just stay one night on their way to somewhere in Albuquerque. And I would love for this to be a corridor. They stop, we pay a lot of occupancy tax. And I would love for it to be one of those places where they said, hey, we need to come back and check out Albuquerque. And that's, and I truly mean that. There's, like I said, a big concentration of guest room nights in just this area that's bigger than any other place in the state. So we do need some help.
Absolutely. All right, any other questions, comments from the other participants?
Great. Well, if we don't have any other questions or comments or concerns, we look forward to hearing from you guys and from your neighbors and colleagues. And the next stop on this journey is February 17th, which is that right?
Yes.
Yes, February 17th for the Albuquerque Development Commission. We hope to see and hear from folks there for to talk to the Development Commission about the needs and concerns for the area. They'll be making a recommendation to council. Takes a little while for stuff to get transmitted after it's gone through a development from a commission to the council. Please feel free to reach out to myself or to Jackie, or to send our details on or the website on to any of your neighbors or colleagues. And let us know if you have any comments or questions.
I was just going to add, Petra, I think we have a couple of the participants' emails. I just want to make sure that we have that available because I don't think they registered necessarily. So
Julian is able to collect those when folks log on. So I'll be adding everyone's email address to my master list. If you get an email from me and you don't want to hear any more about this, just let me know and I can take you off the list. But I start out optimistic, assuming everyone wants to hear me.
great.
Yogurt. It sounds like somebody needs some yogurt on this end.
All right. Well, thank you all for logging on. As Petra said, please let us know if you have any other questions. Please continue to participate. We really need to hear from you. We need to hear that support for this effort. And we will be in touch for the next meetings.
Thanks, everyone. Have a lovely evening.
All right. Thank you.